Hi, everyone. This is our special Tuesday gathering. It's ICUUW Women's annual virtual gathering. It's a year-end fundraiser for us, so thank you all for being here, and thank you for your generous donations to our organization. I'm Beth O'Connell, and I'm a member of the board of ICUUW, and we certainly appreciate your support for the work we do. Now, if it is your first time joining us, if you could put your name and email address in the chat, we will put you on our list to let you know about all our Tuesday gatherings, which are the second and fourth Tuesdays of each month. So this special program, we are focusing on our fourth convocation, which took place in September in Transylvania. So let's start in Transylvania. I'm going to turn it over now to Reverend Adele Naj in Transylvania to light our chalice. Adele?
Thank you, Beth. Hello, everyone. So great to see you. It is my great pleasure to light the chalice today. And I'm going to read the words of David Breeden. In this holiday season, may we find the patience to forgive ourselves, to forgive those who do not do as we wish. May we find patience, may we find the wisdom to let be. In this holiday season, may the darkness of winter be dispelled in the festival of lights, and may ignorance be dispelled in the strength of compassion, reason, and sharing. In this holiday season, may we find peace inside ourselves. May we be peace for those around us. And may we renew our commitment to bring peace with justice to our community and the world. May we be peace. So let it be.
Thank you, Adele. Thank you. And the theme of our fourth convocation was peace. So, to get us into the mood of the convo and into the spirit of the convo, we're going to watch a short video that was taken in September.
I wish you a warm welcome to Transylvania, the birthplace of Unitarianism. We are very happy to see you all here and ready to work, collaborate, create, and connect together in the next 3 days. The theme of the convocation is weaving the tapestry of peace and new perspectives. Connect, collaborate, create. The one thing that is missing most dramatically in our world, in all its dimensions, is P-E-A-C-E. Peace.
The joining together of these squares, all brought here by women from different parts of the world, I think beautifully illustrates the sub-theme of this convocation, which is to connect, collaborate, create. And the completed quilt will be an artistic symbol of our connection here during the next few days, of our ongoing collaboration as we leave this place, and of all the work that we do together to create a beautiful future where women and girls are empowered as we strive towards the goal of gender equity.
ICUUW Women right now is the only organization of Unitarian and Universalist faith that is a truly international or global organization. There have been others before, but right now we are the only organization. So if you are curious about the world, if you are curious about learning or meeting women from other countries who share your faith, this is the place to be.
As you can see, it was a wonderful international gathering of women, and including that wonderful performance by the Ukrainian women refugees. And we are so fortunate to have with us today our keynote speaker from the convo. And I'm going to turn it over to Julie to introduce Maureen Porter.
Good morning to you on the West Coast, and good evening from Africa here. I'm delighted to introduce Maureen again, as I did that morning in Pennsylvania. She comes to us with a broad background and in academia and experience, and long and committed Unitarian engagement. Dr. Maureen Porter is anthropologist of education at the University of Pittsburgh in Pennsylvania, in the Institute for International Studies and Education. At Pitt, she pioneered the concept of international service learning as a form of community engagement. She also teaches in the Gender, Sexuality, and Women's Studies program. Her work has taken her multiple times to Europe, East Africa, and South America. She's led students on Fulbright programs and works with European Union projects promoting democracy. Maureen has been an active Unitarian for 30 years, which led her to very early ICUUW involvement. She participated in the 2009 Houston Convo, and she's taken students to educational and microfinance projects in Uganda. In fact, the very ones that was ICUUW's first initiative emerging from the Houston Convo. As an active member of First Unitarian Church of Pittsburgh and its Khasi Hills partnership team, she participated in a pilgrimage to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the Annie Margaret Barr Children's Village in Karang. Fittingly for our theme, Maureen is a lifelong fiber artist. Her grandmothers and mother nurtured her passion for sewing, quilting, painting, weaving, and rug making during her farming childhood in Wisconsin. We're now about to experience the weaving of inspirational ideas and threads from the tapestry of her life and work. Please welcome Dr. Maureen Porter.
Thank you so much, Julie. Thanks for this opportunity to share a much shorter version of my keynote. Here's a few highlights as I think back now in December, a few months here after the convo. If before thinking about fighting for respect and dignity seemed like mostly something that would affect women elsewhere, now we all know the fight is here at our doorstep, and hopes for peace are more precarious than they have been in a long time. So we, of course, are still weaving that broad global tapestry out of many different strands of Unitarianism. And as we continue this work, we know that we need one another more than ever in this ongoing struggle. Good thing that we are in such good company. So here are a few highlights. I shared that I come from the wooded United States of Pennsylvania now. So it was a special blessing to be there in those woods in Transylvania. And I thank my pre-trip traveling companions and Sophie, who organized such an amazing trip beforehand that gave me an interesting overview of the region and thinking about very different ways that people were viewing the Convo and Unitarianism. So we gathered together because although we may be many, as we saw inscribed all over Transylvania, God is one. So I'm going to invite you to sit back and embrace a couple of stories. Then I'll do some playing with the Convo's overall metaphor of weaving, and I'll allude to the participatory fun that we had. We won't have time to do it here together. And then, of course, we'll still get to sing the same song that we sang together at the end. One of my favorite UU liturgists, George Odell, opens his poem, "We need one another in our hour of defeat, when with encouragement we might endure and stand again." So the related story is so. More than 15 years ago, ICUUW, led by Laura Nagel and Karen LaFrance, set a Ugandan microloan and women's finance program into motion. And I had the chance to visit some of those UU projects in Uganda a couple of the times I was there since 2016. And I was there with Reverend Rainey Wan, and we came and visited them, bringing UU cheer and congratulations to a school and then to the initial set of loan grantees. In Uganda, women are the backbone for unrelenting, difficult work. They're also increasingly entrepreneurs who use even small investments to stand even more steadily on their own 2 feet. They endure by building allies first with each other and then with global Unitarian partners. When we were visiting the microloan grantees, we were impressed with their simple ingenuity. For example, 2 ladies shared a dented and sweltering rectangular shipping container. In it, they had opened 2 different storefronts where they could earn some cash income and the neighbors could buy provision, so it helped everyone. Another entrepreneur installed solar panels and was able to run the only refrigerator in the area. So not only were there cold drinks, but much more importantly, the local nurse also had a place to store medicine. These were modest projects, but they were doable because they worked together and they applied the new finance skills that were part of our program. So in order to accomplish this kind of project, we stayed in touch. We respected their ingenuity. We showed up to witness to what they had created, and we celebrated, and as Odell counseled, we encouraged so that we all who had a stake in it might endure and stand again. They beamed with a whole new sense of respect for themselves. We trusted them, and they set up their own goals for the projects. They set their own priorities and financial guidelines. And they worked together to be able to encourage one another until each and every one paid back their microloan. So what does respect mean in this context? Respect means supporting their changes in a culturally appropriate, sustainable way. It means listening without interrupting to their hard-won insights. It means that we provided UU funds and human connections because they listened when we said that we really had respect for their own talents and their ingenuity. And I think one of the things I learned on site that is just as important is their Ugandan sons and husbands, men from their neighborhood, gained respect for women's abilities. So in thinking about the projects that I've seen in action, when I think about weaving, I think there are a lot of interesting similarities. And so when you start a weaving project, you have to frame your work with sturdy guideposts that encapsulate your core values. You can't just spin cobwebs in the sky. And you have to respect the need to invest in essential infrastructure. So you construct the weaving frame. You have to set bounds because you have to start somewhere tangible, and you need a framework for success. Microloans without ongoing financial training is an empty black box. So although we're not going to do it here, I encourage you to just sort of imagine what we did at the Convo. I encourage people to stand up, and indeed they did. And I encourage them to imagine outlining an imaginary rectangle, like the frame of a weaving. Think about how much you want to undertake, not just little, but, big, not puny dreams. And then look at the top bar of your frame. That's your frame of reference. Look to where you find guidance and inspiration. And then secure the sides. What's a worthwhile scope for this first project? Where do you want to place your investment of time and treasure? And then look down on the bottom. What's the bottom line? What kind of things are you going to leave out for now? You can't do everything. What's your definition of success? So you have your rectangular weaving frame ready to go. And so that's the key thing, so we can move to the next preparatory step. The next thing on your frame is you have to wind the warp cords vertically around the top and bottom of this guiding frame, and around and going. Sometimes it takes as long to set up these vertical warp cords as it does to do the next part of weaving. But patience matters, and Ugandan women know that patience matters. They have long known this. Weavers know that the strength and resilience of these guiding warp lines come from the tensions that they balance. They have to be taut, but not rigid. These warp cords that are the vertical ones have to be able to flex a little over time so that you can use them to anchor each new line of weekly tasks. So just like in other projects in microloans, weaving is only as secure as these initial warp cords. And when we work together to create this kind of global tapestry, everyone relies on their own particular background and anchors it in a way that makes sense locally. So my blessing to you is, may we set reasonable, achievable timeframes for our investments. We cannot do everything all at once, but we must do what we can in sincere and secure faith in one another. May we be satisfied with even a small start, because I saw how much can grow from even modest beginnings. The warp cords are our convictions and covenants that give us boundaries, so may we continue to choose strong warp cords that can stand the test of time. May we plan in for at least a little bit of flex, but still anchor our plans to the solid frame of our focus on gender and women's empowerment. May we stay true and aligned with those guidelines. Respect for ingenuity and culturally relevant goals comes first. And when done well, this can create workable spaces for dignity to flourish. Liturgist Ogel offers good counsel for creative projects like ours. We need one another, he writes, when we would accomplish some great purpose and cannot do it alone. So after setting the bounds for a project, it's the shared daily follow-through work that fills in the gaps. Giving and receiving, back and forth, contributing freely leads to lifting everyone together. And this is where dignity takes on solid form. So, story weavers, here's where we're going to pick up a little speed and talk about the next story. For a decade, starting in 1997, I created and co-led service learning programs with indigenous people in the Andes of Peru. I actually was just back there this May and received this as another piece of weaving. We only came if the local people came up with a project that they wanted, and we dignified their choice of an authentic community need. So many times we built schools and community halls working hand in hand, North American and South American. We found new respect for one another. And one of those trips, in fact, one of the very first ones, offered me a very poignant lesson in dignity. And it all happened because the first week on the way to the worksite, I fell off the cliff. So as a leader, that was a most undignified way to make an entrance. And then for the rest of the project, the local construction leaders and my students and the local men simply put me in a wheelbarrow, rolled me up this long, careful side of the cliff, and put me in the shade of our growing school walls. And there I sat, surrounded by the older Quechua-speaking grandmothers of the village. My dignity was not all that was obscured by dust and mud. External markers of status were also much less relevant, if still lingering, and that was the true blessing. So what does dignity mean in this kind of international context when we work together? Dignity means sharing work in ways that have value there, on the ground. In this community, they really celebrate and live by the Quechua tradition of aini, that is, reciprocity. It means working together for mutual gain. We were all building a new elementary school for their children. And it was a process of, if I help you today, then tomorrow you'll help me. We're in this together. And every kind of labor matters, and every labor of love has dignity. Most of my job that year was to sit with the grandmothers in the fleeting shade and to crack 5-meter lengths of bamboo, which is quite long. Cracking bamboo is not glorious leadership kind of work, but it was. We cracked endlessly for days as we sat steadfastly by one another. One moves forward, the other takes a back seat as those long strands of bamboo are draped in a single pile. And when one length of bamboo ends, you ask for another, and together you keep on going, back and forth, picking up where one other person leaves off. By cracking open these bamboo things and making them flat, we created the basis for the woven lattice that holds up the roof. Now, mind you, that you don't see this intricate weaving once all the red clay tiles are laid upon the top, and that's a lot like many kinds of women's work, the kind that can be easily overlooked. But we knew our kids and grandkids would see the tight weave in the underside of the school's ceiling. Every time they looked up from their new picture books, they would see our steadfast labor sheltering them above. So at this point, I asked the assembled group to stand up again, and I reminded them that they had created their weaving frame. They tied on the vertical warp cords, and just to imagine what they had already done. Beautiful, right? Promising. They set up the infrastructure, and now I encourage them to need to fill it in. You have to go layer upon layer, adding horizontal weft strands to those vertical cords around the guiding frame. So I asked them to look left, because we were all seated in this large lecture room, to join hands with the person on their left. And they did that, and I said, together, you are the horizontal weft strands. You're now one continuous, long, strong cable. You're a thick strand of alpaca wool that goes on and on to the end of your row. So imagine weaving in and out, so I can kind of encourage them to one person step forward, one person step backwards. It actually worked quite well. And in fact, one of the pictures is in the video that we just saw. Working in reciprocity, entwined in mutual success. So I also pointed out that if you get tired or weak, just wrap your arm around the next person, stand together, and the line will continue. And then something happened that actually I wasn't expecting at the convo. I figured everybody in a row would make a particular weft line, but then hands crossed the center aisle. Hands went out to one another, linking one row with the row behind them. And suddenly, the whole row became one long strand across the entire lecture room. Everybody became part of our long weft lines, and the whole room became one single line of weaving, all the way to the back of the room. So I really think that story weaving in projects find that dignity is created in the process of trusting that things will turn out fine, or even in this case, it turned out even better than I expected. When you're weaving, you have to fill in the bulk of a weaving project. You have to create those horizontal lines and look for the next person who will help you carry on. You can't just leave somebody hanging. We have to get people connected, and we need to build a trustworthy team working in rhythm. And as I saw also in Peru, you need a few grandmothers to step back on the sides and see if things are actually plumb and straight. And thankfully, certainly my experience in Unitarianism has been that there's always a few wise crones ready and willing to let you know when you've gotten out of line. So my blessing is this. May we weave long, long strands of global ties that are strong and enduring. May we encourage others to bring their own vision to the design of new sections of this ongoing labor of love, because we have created this global tapestry with varied motifs and flowers and brightly shining stars, each one brilliant and distinct. And we've worked together because these are our lines of continuity, the work that picks up again with rejuvenated colors as the next generation takes over. May each of our distinctive strands of Unitarianism blend seamlessly with those who carry on the work in their own way. And so now we think about the longer purpose of doing all this work, the final part of the project, taking stock of our design for peace. So we're almost ready to cut off this metaphor, wrap up this thought experiment. Soon it'll be time enough to leave the convo and return home to the newly exotic world of our home congregations. And that's how we spread peace. Some people think that you have to have peace of mind to start such a project, and that's a prerequisite. But we cannot wait for peace. We have to actively make peace. And Odell, of course, has some additional insight. He continues in his liturgy. We need one another when we are in despair, in temptation, and need to be recalled to our best selves again. So here's a third aspect to this weaving process, one that most people don't really think about, but it's making peace with what's been accomplished, to fortify it for an independent life, and to learn to create new skills that you can apply to the next creation. Only by doing these last steps of stretching and fulling is a weaving actually ready to stand on its own. And to accomplish this, we need to bring our best selves. And also, I think this is kind of where we are now in December, wrapping things up, looking back. So always having to wrap up a project is part of doing this work. And here's the story is so. As much as I enjoy being in the field, traveling a lot, eventually it is time to go home. And that's a different kind of leaving because I'm a different person now. I like to say, as other anthropologists do, that our job is to make the strange familiar and the familiar strange. And life sure has strange ways of bringing a project to a close. I grew up, as Julie said, as a fiber artist, and those are deadlines. The county fair deadline is here. The board report needs to be turned in. The convocation will end. And when you cut a weaving project from the loom to take it home, that's really bittersweet. But when you take this last step in weaving, you also have to turn it over. Did you ever look back on a complicated project and were a little shy to let other people see the backside? Okay, well, we are brave. So imagine there, again, you're looking at your weaving. Take a closer look at the edges. Are some a little loopy? Were you a little too tightly wound up there? Can you be at peace with this weaving, tie it off and let it go? And now that you've straightened the edges, are you ready to keep it in good condition on an ongoing basis? Like respect and dignity, peace is woven throughout the process. And what does peace mean in this particular context? It means learning to live with the bumps in the road, the glitches in the weaving. It is taking care of weak spots that appear so that it can last. We talk too easily of making war, and we need to continue talking about making peace. It's not just once and done. You can serve a weaving by caring for it on an ongoing basis. And we need to find new strategies each time we undertake a new and exciting project. Peace activists talk about peace not being the absence of conflict, but rather conflict done well. Dorothy Thompson writes, peace is not the absence of conflict, but the presence of creative alternatives for responding to conflict. Weavers dare to look at what we've crafted. We've squared it with our original hopes. We've reinforced our tendered creations while reinforcing places where we still need a bit of follow through. It's messy, but the process of fulling and blocking a weaving is necessary. You never know what happens with each successive global tapestry. Small tears will eventually have to be rewoven. We have to be able to apologize with each other and fix interpersonal connections that may have frayed. We need to think of ways that we still didn't live up to our best selves or move past decolonial relationships. And so at this step, we can actually step back and be at peace with what we've done with each other, to see what we've created, see something tangible, and enjoy the surprising patterns that emerged at the Convo. And I think this is a beautiful communal creation, one that's never existed before. We are here establishing space for ICUUW global connections and emerging communities. So that's the work of the convocation, but not just then, it's also the work of today. And so I encourage people to look back again to their left and remember who came looking for you. Because remember, this is one of the first days of the conference, and you didn't know too many people. But when someone came looking for you, you knew that you were needed. You were seen. And didn't that feel good? Remember whose hand you took for the first time? So here, if you are on a screen where you can see everybody up on Zoom, look to the left and right of you when we go back to the full screen view. Look who is there. You're not alone, for we need one another. Be kind and help each other keep going. Weavers seek out weavers. My blessing for you is may we be grateful for the opportunity to each be seen, to contribute what we can. May we be brave enough to show the sometimes tangled, sometimes chaotic backsides of our creations. And may others learn from our honest mistakes and missteps. Of course, we know that we will be intrepid and keep on going because we are not alone. May we take pleasure from the relationships that have been woven here. And like artists and anthropologists and peacemakers, may we continue to be inspired by one another, for we are stronger together. And may this be the basis for our upcoming investments in the next cycle of fostering women to be change agents and empowering team members. So sisters here at the gathering here for online here as a follow-up, my special wish for each of you is this: know that you are needed. May each of you find spaces where exactly your bright colors are needed, because we are in great company and we will continue to thrive together. Someone out there needs you, and you might just find that you need them too. Blessed be. Thank you.
Thank you, Maureen. Thank you. Okay, everybody, we will have time for Q&A with Maureen after all the presentations. And just a reminder, closed captioning is available. Just click on it at the bottom of your screen if you'd like that. And now I'm going to turn it over to our executive director, Jofi.
Hello, everyone. Good to be here with you. And thank you, Maureen, for that inspiring presentation, the second one after the convocation. So we're still with the convocation, and next we will hear from several fourth convo attendees about their impressions. All of our speakers today were asked in 2 minutes to reflect on the event and highlight one thing that stood out to them. So we will start in Western Europe with Gudrun Hahn from Hamburg. Gudrun is a member of the Unitarian Pre-Religion Congregation in Frankfurt-Main, Germany. She's also the head of the German chapter of the International Association of Religious Freedom and council member of the International Association of Liberal Religious Women.
Okay, this should work now. My voice is not very good today, so I start and hope it works till the end. It was the first time I was at a convocation, but it was not the first time I was in Cluj. I've been there the year before, and so I had more time to concentrate on people than on getting to know the area. With the theme, I was medium good. But what I really enjoyed at the convocation was meeting people, and there was one special person I want to point out. I met Sonja Fischer at the airport already, a woman from northern Germany as well. Sonja was supposed to do a workshop about storytelling. To me, that was very strange. She's earning her money by telling stories. So I changed my first choice and went to this to her workshop, and I really enjoyed her storytelling. And it kind of happened that I spent every evening together with Sonja and other people. We had dinner in Bistro 68 or a beer somewhere in Old Cluj. And so I got a new friend that lives pretty close to where I live. But because of my health, we haven't met yet. I don't know why, but from mid-September, I got COVID, and mid-October, I got influenza, and both viruses just keep me busy, and I would rather do something else. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Gudrun. Next, we move to Africa. Wilda Siro from Kenya grew up in a conservative Christian milieu. As she put it, her love for herself led to feminism and to the UU Church of Nairobi. UUs accommodated her and gave her wings to fly until she landed at the fourth convocation in Kolojvar and at ICUUW. And so the journey begins.
How are you, everybody? I am Wilda Convocation from Unitarian Universalist Church in Nairobi, Kenya. I work with the Maasai Unitarian Universalist community in Kajiado West. On September 4th, I traveled from Kenya to Romania, attended the ICUUW gathering in Romania, courtesy of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Kenya. I'm so glad and grateful for the opportunity you gave me to attend to represent the women of Africa. And I'm also grateful for the welcoming, me being different. I'm Black Indigenous woman. So I was really scared and I never knew how I'm gonna be received. But the warm welcoming made me feel I'm home. Since then, I have learned to be brave. I've helped women to be brave enough. I've inspired a number of them in the ministry to be courageous in promoting peace, defend women rights with wisdom, and become entrepreneurs in agriculture. Not only as we are being taught in Africa that the woman's work ends in the kitchen and the last nail is in the marriage. So it has opened our minds that we can be entrepreneurs, we can be, leaders, we can inspire others, we can have things like agriculture and business, so that we can empower others to, to get ourselves from the intertwining of cultural backward ideologies that make us go deep down into suffering from things like female genital mutilation, early marriages, sex from young men being sold as products. When Maureen Porter gave her speech during the convo and spoke of respect and value, so I thought, so women have got respect. Women can be valued. I found value in myself. I found value in other women. So when I came back, spoke to the women, they're now joyous, knowing that they have other women out there in the world who can support them and who can, embrace their talent and welcome them home. So I give my deep gratitude for the generosity of ICUUW for giving us a hand to learn how we can stand for women rights in Kenya and in Africa at large. With the beading work of the Maasai, I thought we were backward until I saw how other women across the world are doing their weaving, and I felt like, oh, so we are one. I'm so happy with the inclusivity of ICUUW and the pluralism, in Kenya, in Africa. Some of you have traveled over here, they know the distance between the masculine gender and the feminine. So I'm so happy. Thank you so much, and I look forward to working with you.
Thank you so much, Wilda, for these wonderful words that you shared with us. So using the metaphor of the day and of the convocation, we weave our way to North America. Reverend Kevin Allen Mann is Assistant Professor of Multicultural Chaplaincy and Community Ministries at Star King School for the Ministry and Community Minister at First Unitarian Church of Oakland, California. Kevin is also a community organizer and passionate about building bridges and supporting global UU partnerships. Kevin?
Hi, everyone. So good to be here today and just hear from Wilda and a few of the other folks. It's been life-changing being part of the fourth convention, and I've been preaching about 2 to 3 times nonstop in the Bay Area about the ICUUW and how impactful it was. I used a lot of videos from our journey, and so the sermon that I gave was filled with taking tours through Toroxco and being at the Edict of Torda. And the exciting thing is that last Sunday at the First Unitarian Church of Oakland, we had a big service, lifting our partner with the Oakland Church and lifting actually Reverend Laurent Tokus made a 5-minute video about the Oakland Unitarian Church that we got to show in Oakland, California. That was amazing. And at the end of that gathering, we convened about 9 churches in Northern California. One of the big takeaways from my trip is that folks in Boston and folks in DC have gathered their partner church councils together. And so last Sunday, December 1st, we had about 9 different UU churches in the Bay Area, from Walnut Creek to Berkeley, San Francisco, Oakland, San Mateo, and we met for our first quarterly gathering, really trying to just break out of our silos and work with each other. And, that's all because of the relationships that we made. We had Anne and Stephanie from the U Church of Berkeley actually come to Oakland. They both attended the convocation as well. And we're really building a lot of momentum on the West Coast. And Wilda actually came. I also organized for Drum California, which is Diverse Revolutionary UU Multicultural Ministries. It's the People of Color organization for the UUA. And because of ICUUW, I met Wilda, and Wilda actually zoomed in to our meeting. We had over 50 BIPOC Unitarian Universalists, and everybody was just jumping for international UU joy when Wilda joined us. I think it was midnight for you, Wilda, and she joined us via Zoom. And there's a lot of things happening based off of this trip, and I'm just really excited to continue the progress and great to be together. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Kevin. It's just such wonderful to hear from you and from everybody who spoke so far that the convocation gave so many opportunities, not just to meet people, but also to network and find ways to carry forth the spirit of global UUism. And as you already taken steps to meet the momentum. So that's really, I think, all of us at ICUUW, very happy to hear this. So thank you, Kevin. So then we we just jump across the Atlantic Ocean to Eastern Europe. Alison Bolog is new to ICUUW and UUism. She found us last year after searching for a UU community in Athens, Greece, where she lives. Having only managed a couple of meetings before the convocation, she decided to come meet us in person because Kolozsvár was not too far from Greece, and it is also next door to her relatives in Hungary.
Hello to everyone. It's really nice to see a lot of familiar faces that are newly familiar as a result of attending the convocation. I think I wanted to share a little bit of a perspective just on that as a new person and thinking of people that were not able to make it. It was really just a very transformative experience, and the word that I kept thinking of the whole time I was there and ever since I've left when I was talking to friends or family was connection, because it was really all about connecting with people from all over the world. And I think we see that here now for everyone speaking, sharing common goals, very friendly, vibrant people doing so many things in so many different roles all over the world. So I think it's an amazing opportunity for anyone who has the opportunity to travel and to go, just to set up a little bit of that, because I had no idea what I would be seeing there. And for those of you that haven't been able to go, the connection happens on so many different levels, because there are large group events, there are small workshops, smaller workshops, then there were chalice circles. And a nice thing about some of those is that we met with the same people in smaller groups on the 2 days, so we got to know some people even better. The chances at coffee breaks and just hearing about all the different things that are going on all over the world. I was thinking that I needed to focus on one of the events, which was really hard to do. So I'll just mention that briefly, because everything really in different ways was an opportunity to connect and to grow and to see yourself and the world in a different way, I think. But I did go to the one of the workshops that was about some work in the Khasi Hills that was mentioned earlier. And in fact, I think this is an important thing too. Another part of this whole convocation is that the person who was originally on the workshop program was not the person who spoke in the end. And this was an issue as well that can be an eye-opener for some of us, that can go leave our countries anytime we want or go to a different country anytime we want. There were people that were not able to make it. I'm not sure if the person who was supposed to speak was one of those, but there were two very vibrant women, again, in two different roles, one academic and one more of a community role. They talked about research they've done. It was about eliminating violence against women and supporting women's health, getting men, the whole community on board, men and adolescents. And so it was another one of those opportunities to see problems, challenges, solutions. And again, like I said, very vibrant people, motivated, enthusiastic, smart, perseverant, addressing all of these challenges. So for me, I came away feeling tremendously more connected globally to people around the world, meeting people before and after the conference and during the conference. I think that it really is weaving a tapestry there, and it was an incredible experience that I think that anyone who has the opportunity should go, because I'm not related in any way to any of these things, and I came away feeling tremendously connected and inspired.
Thank you so much, Alison. And finally, we end our weaving through the world in Transylvania. Anna Maria Oltyan lives in Marosvásárhely and is a member of ICUUW's Young Adult Network and Programs Committee. She works as a freelance digital creator and self-describes as a Transylvanian vampire who likes to animate and create illustrations and designs. Anna Maria.
Hi. Thank you for asking me to give a short presentation about my experience at the Convo. Well, I went there as a volunteer, actually, so I've been running around most of the time. So if you have been there and saw those girls, those annoying girls asking for name tags before each meal, one of them was me. I'm sorry for the inconvenience. Well, for me, it was actually a really great experience, because in between my tasks, I had the time to just stop and talk randomly to people that were there. And everybody was so open and so talkative, and no matter the age gap, the places that we were coming from, we had common subjects, we had things to talk about. And I don't know, for me it was such an uplifting experience to meet so many nice people and to see so many perspectives. And if there is only one thing that I have to highlight from this experience, it would be the workshop I attended that was held by Noel. because it was really inspiring. I think that in Europe, people have this tendency of constantly complaining about everything, about politics, about their life situation, about money, about anything basically, and we tend to have to like self pity, to pity ourselves most of the time and get lost in our problems instead of solving them. And the presentation of Noelle, where she presented how she's working through all of the hardships in Africa, through having to fight the men, actually that women are suppressed by men, the cultural stuff and everything, and still she manages to have a group of women that she can educate, that she can help learn business, teach them sexual education, prepare them for their life, actually, to be able to maintain a healthy life for their children, to have money, to not need a man to be able to survive. And I don't know, for me, it was really inspiring. Like, if they can get through all of these hardships of being suppressed by men and being like outcasts by the society because of teen pregnancies and stuff, we can also get through our difficulties that are actually not so difficult here in Europe and on other sides of the world, and just get on, and that we can do it. For me, it was really inspiring, because sometimes I also tend to let my problems overwhelm me and want to give up, but seeing this, whenever I feel like giving up, I always think of how inspiring the thing is that she's doing, and that I know that I can do it. So if she can suppress this. Well, everybody was asked to bring a piece of textile with them that represents their culture or has some meaning for them. So we decided to make something that is long lasting. So we thought of creating an animation, which is kind of a documentary of preserving the values that these pieces of textile represent. And I took them each one piece by piece and recreated them digitally. I made an illustration about them. And this represents that each of us are really unique and really different, but we work towards the same goal, which is peace. So I truly hope there is a small presentation about the purpose of the video inside the video. So this is all I'm going to say by now.
This piece reflects my love for the planet Earth and the gift of equality for all.
This beautiful square was given to me by Audrey Brooks. It has a picture of the Earth, our beautiful home. Keeping our Earth beautiful and peaceful is what my life is all about. Bless all the women, children, men, plants, and animals of the Earth.
My piece is sentimental to me because it represents the joys, sorrows, and resilience of being an African woman. The lasso is a Kenyan piece worn by women when they are working, used to carry children on their back, carry water on the head, and so much more. It embodies the enduring and resilient spirit of the woman who most of the time embraces everyone in the Hakuna Matata spirit. No worries. Hakuna Matata, Dada.
I chose this woven piece of textile in memory of my mother. She wove it. The 4 circles might symbolize our 4 convocations and our wish to connect, collaborate, create on behalf of peace, acceptance, and renewal.
This is a remnant of fabric I used in 1972 to make a maternity dress, the only dress I ever made, when we lived in England and I was pregnant for the first time. I got toxemia, and the baby died a month or so before he would have been born. I went to have 2 healthy babies after that, and I don't think about the first one very often. But this is a piece of cloth full of memories for me.
World War II could not have been war without American women working alongside men in the factories, making everything the Army and Navy needed. The shipyards in Richmond, California, employed many women. We Can Do It represents their effort. The end of the war left Richmond in economic ruin when the shipyards closed. This was especially true for the Black Americans who came to California from Texas. Unitarians from Berkeley have focused social justice in Richmond.
My piece is silk, which I have dyed with resist and painted in rainbow colors. It represents me as well as the queer and trans family we left in Canada who love and support me through everything.
Gift you with love this little embroidered cloth which I sewed with great affection. For me, the interwoven threads are a reminder of togetherness, a symbol of Unitarians and other denominations across the world.
This piece of burlap comes from the estate of my paternal grandmother, Veronika Sebestyén from Sepsiárkos. It was woven by my great-grandmother, Irén Sebestyén.
This piece of cloth is made of airy silk used in weaving in India's northeast region. It is a part of a traditional Jantiya dress called Janpeen, which envelops the body and is secured at the waist with a belt.
The pink robin is unique to Australia. Small but beautiful, like the ICUUW.
Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me, that I might know your mind. And I bring you home when hope is hard to find. And I bring a song of love that grows in the winter time. Come walking rain.
Wow. Thank you, Anna Maria. That's the first time I'm seeing this video complete, and it is so beautiful. As you can see, those pieces of cloth just represent a gamut of women's stories and women's wishes and women's beliefs and women's strength. And it's just incredibly moving and just a beautiful job there, Anna Maria. Bravo, 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 bravo,
Thank you.
bravo. I should say. One thing we've learned through our advocacy work at the UN when we attend conferences, at the end of the conference, there's a declaration. So at the end of our 4th convocation, we decided to have a declaration on peace. So I'm going to read that declaration now. ICUUW, Fourth Convocation Peace Declaration. As Unitarian Universalist and people of liberal faith, we foster global partnerships to promote peace and security and build a just, inclusive society. Conflicts and disasters, including pandemics, affect women and girls disproportionately because crisis-related hardships compound pre-existing disadvantages and inequities. The UN Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs as they're known, underscore that poverty, conflict, climate change, and forced migration, as well as gender inequality, are closely linked. Therefore, women's empowerment must be integrated into overall development and peace building in UN negotiations and actions. A growing body of evidence shows that women's participation in peace processes and conflict prevention results in more stable peace agreements. Women's perspectives and experiences are therefore essential in shaping inclusive solutions for sustainable peace. Empowering women as peace builders, peacekeepers, mediators, and agents of change will lead to greater global peace, strengthening social cohesion and community resilience. We therefore commit to personal and institutional actions stemming from the work of the Global Sisters Conversations at the Fourth International Convocation of Unitarian Universalist Women, ICUUW, Koleshvar, Cluj-Napoca, Romania, the 5th to 8th of September, 2024. So that peace statement will guide us and inspire us in our advocacy work at the UN. Come join us. And again, as a member of the board, I thank you, we thank you for attending this annual gathering and for your generous donations to our organization. Thank you. And now I will turn it over to Adele, Reverend Adele in Transylvania, for the closing.
Thank you, Beth. It was a joy to be here with you, all of you today. For the extinguishing words, I chose the words of Reverend Kathleen Cotter Coilberg. I know her, I've known her from Star King. Beloveds, may love guide you on your journey forward. Joy meets you at every turn, and hope be your daily practice. May gratitude companion you, compassion embolden you, and open-hearted courage be your unending choice. May peace challenge you, dear ones, generosity empower you, and may you know in every day that you are enough, just exactly as you are, and that you are not alone. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you, Adele. We are not alone. We are together. We are a group of amazing women and men who support our work around the world. Okay, stay with us. Join us again. And again, thank you for being here today. Take care.